everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the new Haolonggood Saurolophus. Did you really think I was going to review probably my top requested dinosaur species of all time? Seriously, I've been just harping about a good Saurolophus figure for years and years on end, and I'm so happy that Haolonggood finally delivered probably one of my favorite dinosaur species of all time. Now, I ended up picking these figures up from Atlanta Time Shop. They retail for around 23 bucks each. And I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself. So before we check these actual figures out, let's take a quick look at the packaging. There are two versions of the figure. We got both of them on the front of the box, and then on the top we have a picture of some of Haolonggood's other releases. Nice mix of species on the top. I'm just kind of surprised that they didn't show their other Hadrosaurs, which they usually, whatever, if it's a sauropod figure, the box has pictures of a lot of sauropods, theropods, and whatever. So really weird that they didn't show all their Hadrosaurs on the box. But anyways, that's it for the packaging. Let's take these two figures out and take a closer look. And here are both figures of the packaging. The best thing about Haolonggood, due to their low price point on a majority of their figures, it makes it very easy to pick up both color versions. We have the gray and brown version. And like I said, Saurolophus was my top requested dinosaur figure for years on end. I have a really soft spot for this species. Probably goes back to when I was a child. My first Dino Riders figure was the Saurolophus, and I always thought it was kind of neat that the Hadrosaur was one of the bad guy dinosaurs. I just always thought that was weird and appealing. And also, it's my favorite Hadrosaur species of all time, and it's also in my top 5 overall favorite dinosaurs of all time. So really happy to finally add a good version of the species to my collection, and they're beautifully sculpted and painted. Sometimes Haolonggood figures, they can look a little bit flat, but a lot of nice details on these figures. Absolutely love the head sculpt on both of these, and just love the bright paint they used for the crest. And for measurements, these figures are 9 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the beak, or 22.9 centimeters, and about 2 3/4 inches high at the hip, so just under 7 centimeters. Now, there are two species of Saurolophus. There's the American version, Saurolophus osborni, and the Mongolian species, Saurolophus angus terrostris. So based on these measurements and the shape of the crest, this is the American version, osborni. They were between 27 to 28 feet long, or 8.2 to 8.5 meters, so that'll put these figures in the 136 to 137 scale range. Now, the Mongolian species, I'm just going to call it Angus, was very large, up to 43 feet long, or 13 meters, and they're absolutely massive. Seriously, look at the size of that skull. I'm happy that we got the American version, because I've seen the holotype at the American Museum of Natural History, but I really hope someday down the line Haolonggood decides to make the Mongolian species, because it's an absolutely massive animal. Now, let's first take a closer look at the brown version, my favorite of the two color variants. Love how it's sculpted in mid-stride, very lifelike. Let's take a look at that amazing looking head sculpt. The other difference between the American and Mongolian species, the American species had a higher pointed head crest, and on the Mongolian is swept back, and it was a little bit longer, but that is an awesome looking head sculpt. The eyes are painted in yellow with a black pupil. We have some nice yellow on the front of the crest, and it transitions to a pink and then blue at the tip. The beak is nicely sculpted in with dark brown paint. You can see the nostrils sculpted in, and then going down to the front legs, you can see the hand claws are painted in black. I know some people probably wonder why it doesn't have one huge, hoof like Edmontosaurus, or Edmontosaurus right now is the only one that has been found with that feature, so I'm okay with this. And then going down to the body of this nice molted pattern with lots of white and dark markings and a little bit of yellowish brown. And the cool thing about Saurolophus, we do have skin impressions from both species, and paleontologists were able to decipher what type of pattern it had. The American species had radical scale pattern, which gave it either a blotched or spotted look, and I think that this pretty much represent what that would look like. Lots of dark splotches around it. And the Mongolian species had a row of rectangular scales, which means it most likely had a striped pattern. And then going down to the hind legs, you can see the toe claws are painted with nice black paint. You do have a nice little ridge of scales along the back, and then going down to the tail, you get a little bit of blotching and striping, and a little bit of hint of blue on the tail, and then flipping the figure over, have a nice pink coloration for the belly, and there's our very generous cloaca slit. And now for the gray version, I do like the colors on this, but something that really stood out, the color palette is pretty much identical to PNSO's Torvosaurus. I don't know if that was intentional or they have an artist that worked at PNSO working at Haolonggood now, but yeah, the color palette is strikingly similar to that Torvo. So anyways, taking a look at the head, I love how there's like a little bit of a sheen going from the beak up to the crest, like it's covered in a keratin sheath. You got some pink, yellow, and it transitions to blue, so differentiate it from the brown version. The eye, same thing, yellow with a black pupil, beautifully sculpted beak. And then going down to the body, the whole body has really, really fine scale detail, little osteoderms peppered throughout. This figure feels absolutely excellent here, very tactile feel to it. Going down to the hands, you can see more of that dark gray and molted spotting. Hand claws painted in black. Same thing with the toe claws. Just a lot of nice muscle detail all over the thighs. Some nice folds and wrinkles. I really do like the pattern on the tail. I think it's just contrasted nice with the dark gray, and it transitions into black. You have that nice cream color with a little bit of red thrown in near the tip, and then flipping the figure over, same thing, kind of got a little bit of that pink underbelly and the cloaca slit. So all around, absolutely love both of these figures. These are my favorite Hadrosaur figures now in my collection. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with Collectase 140 scale human. And here's a group shot of the current Haolonggood Hadrosaur lineup. On the bottom left over here is their Saurolophus, which was their first Hadrosaur, and I have to say it's the weakest of the group. Very, very flat looking. The paint job's not great. It's a very flat figure. I noticed this was a trend where earlier Haolonggood figures, some figures were really nicely detailed, had a lot of nice sculpted detail on it, and some were just flat looking, and this Saurolophus is a prime example of that. And then across from that is their Edmontosaurus regalis, and above that is the Maiasaur and baby. So all around, the Hadrosaurs have been pretty good, and there's definitely a ton of species that they can crank out, and there's some obscure ones out there, so I'd love to see them take a crack at more Hadrosaurs in the future. Next up is another group shot of an assortment of Haolonggood figures. In the back over there is their massive Brachiosaurus, then their Margosaurus, Utaceratops, Gastonia, Triceratops, and their amazing new Tyrannosaurus Rex. Seriously, I had to go back and review the Rex and Brachiosaurus. It's two of their best figures currently out, and I just really need to find time to do that. But you can see, like, this is just a small slice of the variety of species Haolonggood has given us, and I think it's going on maybe almost 3 years that they've been around now. So yeah, they are just cranking out stuff, and they're very, very budget friendly, especially that Rex. I think that thing was under $40, and it's absolutely amazing. Next up, we have PNSO's Edmontosaurus, and the reason I'm doing this comparison is to really show the size difference between the two species of Saurolophus, like we covered earlier. These two right here represent the American version of Osborni, and for scale reference, the PNSO one will represent the size of the Mongolian species, Angus terrostris. So yeah, absolutely massive animal the Mongolian species was, and like I said, really, really hope somewhere down the line we get a figure of that species. And lastly, for comparison, this is a group shot of the Horseshoe Canyon Formation. That is the formation Saurolophus osborni was found in, and there's a few of the species that it lived alongside. On the top, we have Haolonggood's Edmontosaurus regalis. Then we have PNSO's Albertosaurus, Haolonggood's Edmontonia, and the Euoplocephalus. Euoplocephalus was not found in that formation, but I'm using this to sub in for Anodontosaurus since they are so similar looking. And then we have Haolonggood's Pachyrhinosaurus. One day, hopefully, we get a Canadensis version of Pachyrhinosaurus, because every Pachyrhinosaurus out there, like I've said many times, is based off Lacustae. And then we have Collectase Struthiomimus. So yeah, nice little shot of this formation. I always love doing these little formation group shots. So final thoughts on Haolonggood Saurolophus. I might be a little bit biased. Like I said, this is my favorite Hadrosaur species of all time, and one of my favorite dinosaurs, but I think these two figures turned out absolutely great. The painting is really well done on these figures. Some of the better quality paint apps on Haolonggood figures, and the sculpting and detail is excellent. Just love all the fine scale details all over the figures, and I just love that little sheen on the head crest on the figures. Give it that nice keratin look. And like I said, the brown version is my favorite of the two. The gray one's also great, but I just can't shake that. It looks like almost identical to the Hadrosaur. But yeah, for 23 bucks, you really can't complain. And it is a very rare, Hadrosaur species to have in figure form. So I highly, highly recommend these. And like I said earlier, I got these from Land of Time Shop. Link is down below in the description if you'd like to pick one up for yourself. So that will do it for the review. I'm gonna try to hammer out at least a couple more Hammond collection figures in the next week or so. Gonna get better at uploading stuff, at least once a week, probably every 2 weeks. I'm not gonna review every single figure I get in. I just don't have the time for it anymore, but I appreciate you guys still tuning in and checking out my reviews. It means a lot to me. So that will do it. As always, if you're a fan of this channel, hit that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.